Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. We're going to talk about Hogwarts Legacy again. The legacy of Hogwarts Legacy is that this is a game that a lot of people are trying to get canceled because of its connection to J.K. Rowling and also because of its connection to a developer that some of the people who investigate these sort of things, game journos, do not like one of the developers working on the game because they had at one point what they considered to be an anti-SJW channel. Now, personally, I think they're coming after this game so hard because of J.K. Rowling, because of her tweets saying that there were only two biological genders, and people were not happy about that, obviously. But now to try to make amends, I guess, now, they're going to include trans characters in Hogwarts Legacy. But the thing is that even in the articles talking about the trans characters in Hogwarts Legacy, everybody keeps reminding everyone that J.K. Rowling made the tweet she made and they've got this developer on the game. They're not going to be happy until the game is canceled. Let's be honest. Journalists are not going to be happy until this game is gone. Completely obliterated, and I think they're going to keep pushing Warner Brothers to cancel it. It'll be interesting to see if it has any effect on sales at all. I don't know if it's going to, because I'm just going by, the optics that I've seen going to the theme parks and whatnot, and it doesn't look like the general public is really that cognizant of what's going on with J.K. Rowling. Like, they don't really care. They're just like, I like Harry Potter. Let's go buy Harry Potter stuff. That seems to be the case. This does seem to be a tempest in a teapot, but we know that these companies constantly bend the knee to, an outraged minority on Twitter. They're always looking to Twitter to tell them what to do, which is a huge mistake. In fact, we're going to talk about Twitter and K-pop stans and all of that and how this is all in this little microcosm of this social media site that companies really need to stop listening to, because Twitter is not the real world. It's Twitter. A lot of people on Twitter are not even living in reality. Anyway, before I get into it, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We're over 180,000 subs. Thank you for the support. In case you missed it, we're not going to be annoying with this. I don't want to be annoying with this. But we did launch a campaign on Indiegogo yesterday. It's a second chance offer to get hardcovers, speaking of fantasy and magic, hardcovers of our classic webcomic shadow binders. You can grab that on Indiegogo. I will put a link in the description if you like magic and you like comics. They are 160-page full-color graphic novels on Indiegogo right now. They're actually in stock. We've got them sitting here in the studio ready to ship. So as soon as the campaign's over, they'll be headed your way. And we're doing pretty okay. For not announcing it, we just kind of dropped it. We're almost 18,000 in like a day. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good, guys. All right. So let's talk about Harry Potter. Again, more magic. Harry Potter, you can play as a transgender character in Hogwarts Legacy. This is coming from The Beat. We got a version out here on Bloomberg. We'll take a little bit from both and we'll discuss. The next Harry Potter video game will allow players to customize their character's voice, body type, and gender placement for the school dormitories, taking a stride toward inclusivity after several recent controversies stemming from comments by series creator J.K. Rowling that were seen as transphobic. Now, I'm going to be honest, this is nothing new. They've been doing this in video games for a while. That doesn't mean that the characters are necessarily trans, but you have a high degree of customization of your characters. They do this in The Sims. I don't think they assign gender right out of the box anymore. They used to. The older versions of The Sim, it was male or female sim, and then they would give you body types or whatever based on that. The Sims is highly customizable. You can literally create any kind of character you want to, give them any kind of voice, any kind of hairstyle. So this is really nothing new, and it's not explicitly trans either. I mean, the option is there if you want to create a trans character that's there. Same with The Sims, but it's not explicitly here's the trans category for trans wizards, Hogwarts Legacy is scheduled for 2022 release from publisher Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment. Guys, just say you wish it wasn't. When players start the game, they will be able to create a character that has a masculine or feminine voice, no matter what their body looks like, according to people familiar with the game's development. Again, this is nothing groundbreaking. This is nothing new. This has been happening in games for a while. The people requested anonymity because they weren't authorized to speak to the press. Probably like, hey guys, so this isn't like a big press release. This is not Warner Brothers, putting out a big release saying, look how inclusive we are, everybody. Other developers would do it. They'd be like, look guys, you can make any kind of witch or wizard you want to. Players will get to select one of two options, witch or wizard, that will determine the dorm they get placed into at the magical school of Hogwarts and how they're addressed by other characters in the game. Although this level of customization has grown more common in video games and is no longer unusual, it's noteworthy for Hogwarts Legacy. Because of J.K. Rowling, even though this is very much normal for virtually any other kind of sandbox game that you can create your own character, very, very normal now. Because J.K. Rowling is attached to this game, it should just be male and female, and that is it. Even though there are a lot of people working on this game. Last summer, Rowling made several comments that were widely viewed as demeaning toward transgender people and denounced by many, including Harry Potter film stars Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson. Yes, they threw her ass under the wheels of the bus. They owe their careers to her, and they kind of threw her under the wheels of the bus. The comments also rattled some people working on the game, Bloomberg reported. As a result, some members of the Hogwarts Legacy development team have fought to make the game as inclusive as possible, pushing for the character customization and even for a transgender character to be added. This is, again, Jason Shearer adding this stuff in here from Bloomberg. There was resistance from management at first, but the people familiar with the project said currently the character customization is included in the game. Again, this is very normal. It is. But here's what happens. So we're going to talk about a non-issue. This is how these journalists work. And it's the same with comic books. It's the same with anime. It's the same with animation. They lead with, here's the non-news, and here's why it's problematic. So, they talk about the game. You get to the very last paragraph. I have gotten in the habit of reading articles on certain websites backwards. Because even like Polygon, they're like, why I'm not buying Harry Potter. If you go to the very last paragraph, this is where they editorialize. The very last paragraph of this. If you decide to buy the game, I hope you do so with an understanding about the context of J.K. Rowling's transphobia and her various racist tropes in her books. But remember, when asked whether you would stand with your trans friends or stand with her, all it took was an open world RPG to lure you over. Don't buy it. If you ever announced your allyship by claiming you're no longer supporting J.K. Rowling, now's the time to prove it. Again, last paragraph of a Polygon article. Last paragraph of this Bloomberg article. We got to make sure that we get every dig in we can because they want to tank this game. Last month, Hogwarts Legacy faced more controversy after gaming journalist Liam Robertson revealed that Troy Levitt, a senior producer at Salt Lake City-based Avalanche, made dozens of YouTube videos attacking feminism and social justice. He also expressed support for Gamergate, a loose community of gamers who harass journalists and game developers for voicing progressive views. I was not there for Gamergate, but having experienced similar issues with other pop culture journalists that clearly lie about fans and demonize fans, I have heard it's basically the same thing. That what's going on in comics and movies and animation, all of that is sort of an outgrowth of that situation where it was clear that journalists were activists first, not journalists, and they were using their platforms, many of them who did not earn the right to be there, frankly, using their platforms to attack fandoms and individuals they don't like in the industry. That is my understanding, and then Gamergate was the pushback against that. Again, not there for it. People tried to say we're Gamergate. I wasn't there. I don't know. That's my understanding of it. Resetera, one of the largest video game forums. And again, Resetera, which is very, very, very far left. It is. It makes Twitter look like the GOP. It's pretty far left. Resetera enacted a total ban on threads for promotional media around Hogwarts Legacy in the wake of the discovery in Rowling's comments. Levitt didn't respond to a request for comment. I wouldn't. I would not. I would not respond to it because there's nothing you can say. When you've been targeted for cancellation, this developer's been targeted for cancellation by association. So what's going on here is, in my opinion, is these games journalists are looking at the team working on the game. They can't take the game down by itself. So what they're going to do is they're going to go around and try to dig up dirt on every individual team member. And they found Levitt's YouTube channel, which Warner Brothers knew about. Apparently Avalanche knew about it. His employers knew about it. Wasn't a big deal to them. And in fact, if you go out and look at the videos, they seem to be pretty chill. He's not screaming and ranting and whatever. He just was giving his hot takes as somebody who has worked in the industry for decades. And frankly, I'm going to tell you, talking to people in and around the game industry, talking to people in and around animation and comics, there are far more people who feel the way that Levitt and others do working in these industries who are afraid to voice their opinions. They think that things have gone too far. They think that cancel culture is ridiculous. Is that ridiculous? They think that, the witch hunts need to end, but they are terrified to say anything about it or they're going to wind up like Gina Carano. That's the truth. So there are, frankly, more of, I guess, us, if you throw me into that lot too, more of us than there are of them. They just have control of the platform. Now, all it's going to take is for people to stop being such pussies and push back, and you'll see exactly how many people working in the industry feel this way, but they're not going to do it until they think, it's not going to adversely affect their employment opportunities. And this is why you're seeing a lot of people, I think, voluntarily leave studios and leave production companies, whatever, go do their own thing. Cause they're like, I'm not playing this game. I'm not going to put myself on the cancellation list. I'm going to go do indie games. I'm going to go do indie comics. And that's what's probably going to wind up happening. And this is coming from an admitted left winger. I've always considered myself a liberal. My first president I voted for was Clinton, and I was very proud to vote for Clinton. I remember arguing with my teachers about Clinton, and they didn't like him. But I've always been liberal, and now somehow, because I'm voicing unpopular opinions, I've been called an alt-right Yahtzee, which is absolutely freaking ridiculous. So they picked it up here on Comics Beat. And again, you get to the end. Even if Rowling isn't directly involved in the development of the game or the TV series, as the owner of the IP, she financially benefits from everything related to Harry Potter, and her past comments remain harmful toward trans people regardless of any game alterations. I can tell you for a fact we have some very, very good trans friends who are still very big fans of Harry Potter. I can tell you for a fact. I mean, this is an individual choice. I'm not going to tell you what to buy, what not to buy. But I can tell you that we're seeing a cancellation or attempted cancellation happen in real time. So even when they leak, news like, hey guys, you can make any kind of character you want to, it's not enough. This game has been targeted for cancellation. And as we get closer to it dropping, we're going to see more and more and more bullshit from games journos. And you're going to see what they're really like. You're going to see what these journalists are really like, and they will basically scream, journos and Twitter and etc. They will scream until they get their own way, and they usually do. I mean, that's a sad truth. A company like Warner Brothers, they don't want the PR nightmare. They don't want 24 gaming sites slamming them for being a bunch of transphobes. So they'll probably, I'm going to be honest, they'll probably bend the knee at some point. It wouldn't surprise me. But this game is basically a dead man walking. I think at this point, I think that's what's going on. So I'm going to wrap it up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.